Fellow Lions of District 133, I would like to introduce you to LCIF, our foundation, the Foundation of Lions Club International. Next slide, please. LCIF at a glance. LCIF was founded in 1968, official foundation of Lions Club International, giving support to clubs. It provides grant funding for large-scale projects. It relies on donations and more than $950 million in grants awarded to date. Next slide, please. Vision. LCIF helps Lions prevent avoidable blindness and care for the visually impaired. And youth. LCIF improves access to quality education, vital health services, and positive youth development for young people around the world. Next slide, please. Humanitarian. Lions identify the world's most crucial needs, and LCIF supports them in their efforts to provide humanitarian aid around the globe. Disaster relief. Whenever and wherever disaster strikes, Lions are among the first to offer aid. LCIF empowers those crucial relief efforts. Next slide, please. Diabetes. LCIF is fighting to reduce the prevalence of diabetes and improve quality of life for people diagnosed with this disease. Hunger. LCIF is on a mission to ensure all community members have access to nutritious food. Next slide, please. Environment. LCIF is dedicated to helping Lions take on large-scale projects that will create a sustainable and healthy future for generations to come. Childhood cancer. LCIF is committed to helping young cancer patients and their families, and we are constantly exploring new ways to improve quality of life for these children. Next slide, please. Lions Club International Foundation. We now will have a little video bringing possibilities to life, lionsclub.org.lcif. Can you play that, Carl? Now we will look at the way LCIF give out supports clubs around the world and communities around the world with grants. Next slide, please. How does LCIF help Lions? It helps Lions respond collectively to humanitarian concerns around the world. It enables Lions to help Lions. It funds projects too big for districts or clubs. It develops grant-making initiatives to help Lions better serve communities. Next slide, please. Grants awarded by Lions Constitution Area CA4, which incorporates all of Europe and Turkey, which we are part of. Next slide, please. See the amounts that were granted, CA1, United States of America and its affiliates, they got grants of $3,730,000. CA2, which is Canada, got $390,188,000. And CA3, which is South America, Central America, Mexico, islands of the Caribbean Sea, it got $2,089,000. And CA4 Europe got $4,609,133. And then East Asia and Southeast Asia got $8,696,917. India, South Asia, Middle East got $5,722,000. And Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, islands of the South Pacific got $977,784. And Africa, which is CA8, got US $6,603,915,000. And there was non-affiliates got $2,482,326, and the total given out was $35,302,000 last year. If we can have next slide, please. Types of grants. There are a wide variety of grants available to help Lions serve their local communities in the world. You have standard grants, you have core 4 grants, you have international assistance, you have emergency grants, major catastrophes, and site first. So if we can move on to the next slide, please. Millions of people throughout the world lack access to items and services that many of us take for granted. Through matching grant projects, communities gain access to education, technology, healthcare, safe places for children to play, and many other life-changing improvements. Matching grants involve identifying what a community needs most and making it a reality. Matching grants are large-scale humanitarian projects that address unmet needs. The project must serve a large population. Grants awarded are between $10,000 and $100,000 US dollars. Matching grants typically provide funds for capital construction and equipment. Typical projects include mobile health units, centres for people who are disabled or blind, eye clinics, major medical equipment, nursing homes, and schools in developing countries. Next slide, please. Application and deadlines. The application for matching grants are due no later than 90 days prior to the start of the Board of Trustees meeting, which take place in January, May, and August. And as I understand, there's one currently on at the moment. Next slide, please. Project examples. Projects impacting the lives of youth in developing countries, including schools, orphanages, and centres for street children. Projects impacting the lives of the disabled, including physical rehabilitation and the provision of facilities and equipment to help address the specific educational and vocational training needs of the disabled. Projects that strengthen access to and improve the provision of medical care in communities, including expanding and equipping charitable or non-for-profit medical facilities. Projects to address the needs of at-risk and vulnerable populations in the community, such as an expansion of nursing homes, hospices, facilities for the elderly, food banks, and clean water and sanitation installation in developing countries. Projects that support long-term disaster reconstruction of important public and community facilities damaged or destroyed by natural disasters after all other LCIF funding has been fully expended, such as major catastrophe grants and the designated disaster grants. Next slide, please. Eligible projects. Address an important humanitarian need. Supply efforts too large for one district to undertake alone. Provide long-term benefits. Serves a large population or region. Involve lines in hand-on activities. Identify lines closely with the project. Raise significant funds from local Lions clubs. Improve the quality of life for at-risk and vulnerable populations. Highlight the presence of Lions in the community or region. Next slide, please. Why should Lions clubs support LCIF? Well, LCIF is our foundation. Support Lions humanitarian projects locally and throughout the world, helps Lions carry out large-scale projects or initiatives, and plays a unique role. Next slide, please. Donations from District 133 clubs. So we're talking about ourselves now. In 2021-2022, we contributed $218,080. In 2022-23, the last Lionistic year, we contributed $216,070. Date 2023-2024, we've contributed $41,903.05. 70 clubs have contributed to LCIF. That's 78% of our clubs in our region or in our district. We will encourage all clubs to set aside 10% of what they fundraise each year to support LCIF and international projects. And just as a brief update, since those figures were published, we have 2,775 to be sent for disasters, both for 2,707 for the Moroccan earthquake and 2,775 for the Libya flooding. And the district flooding account, which is separate, to date, the district has raised €16,150. And the Gaza appeal, which we're running separately because LCIF, for some reason, have not got involved in the Gaza conflict. They're exploring it. We have received donations from clubs of €17,150. And just to update you on the Gaza appeal, I have contacted Brian Sheehan, who is past international president, is chairman of LCIF, to find out why LCIF have not been supporting Gaza, and I recommended that they use, with the support of the Cabinet and District Governor, that they use UNICEF as the vehicle of support. And I'm waiting for a reply. They were to consider it at their board meeting, so I haven't had an update from that. Next slide, please. Donations to District 133 clubs. At the recent Europe Forum in Austria, District 133 was recognised as the biggest contributing district across all Europe in 2022 and 2023. And it was similar actually in 2021-22. So District 133 LCIF chair, who was me, received, and then District Governor Ryan Ellis receiving awards for International President Patty Hill and LCIF chairperson Brian Sheehan. It was a great to be there and to hear our district to be top of the list. Next slide, please. Right, these are just a few. Thank you for your support, and we look to the clubs will continue to support LCIF and help those a lot worse off than us in many parts of the world. Thank you for your attention. Good evening.